Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
And so we have in attendance here tonight, we have Michelle Dion, we have Lorianne Taylor Branco, we have Bob Smith and Kara O'Connell. Absent is Joe Oliveira.
Thank you.
So the approval of the minutes, we have 4 different dates that we're looking for an approval for.
And I have an amendment to the June 25th.
Is that the one you sent us?
I did, and I can have the language actually if you want. So Ashley, you want to move through May 8th? Does
May 8th, did everybody
Motion.
read May 8th?
motion and second to approve or not
Make
approve?
motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
May 22nd?
22nd? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. May 30th?
Motion to postpone the approval of the May 30th, 29 open session minutes as they're still being assembled by Attorney Coughlin's office.
Okay, so we're going to
We're going to
postpone that one. Motion to
I'll
postpone?
make a motion to postpone.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And June 25th, you have an amendment for us?
I do. Well, actually, so on the approval of the minutes that you have, can I just, did I send them to you?
Yep.
Let me just eyeball it, make sure you have,
I didn't think I printed out that one with all the minutes.
okay.
I didn't either.
So,
it was
actually,
long.
so just a footnote, that the minutes that I sent you originally had listed the executive session May 30th meetings. It was a typographical Scrivener's error, because you already approved them at the previous meeting. So, motion to, I'm looking for a motion to approve those minutes with the amendment that the May, the understanding the May 30th, 29 executive session minutes were approved on 6/25/19.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the financial updates.
Yeah, I would just want to report that in our Bay Coast Bank account, our working account, we have approximately $1.9 million, $1,995,994.07 as of 7/15. And the secondary account, we have $183,905.24. I met with the bank manager on a couple weeks ago. She indicated that you were all signatories except for Joe Oliveira on our checking account. And as you see in your board package, I've made a proposal to act on your behalf to sign checks that are already approved by the warrant and/or for consideration. No, actually, let's start with, have a resolution in your package to allow me to sign on your behalf, and then I'll discuss the policy under which I'm given that authority. Some of the things that I'd like to do, obviously, is instead of having you run back and forth, if you've already approved the warrant, I'll be able to do that. And the other issue is to consider consolidating the bank accounts. There's no need for 2 checking accounts, according to the bank manager. So, in your packets, there is a
Proposal.
Yeah, actually.
Resolution Banking and Investment
Yeah.
Authority resolution.
So if you have any questions on that, or if you obviously have your discussion about whether or not you actually want that to happen, I'm just asking you for that authority.
Anybody have any concerns, comments, questions? I mean, obviously, we have to approve the warrant. We'll know exactly what checks are being issued, and it would just she would be able to sign them instead of having to come to me or Bob or Lori or any of us to sign them. I don't know if anybody, Bob, you have any comments or questions on it?
No, as the chair, are you comfortable with it?
I mean, I would feel
Yeah.
comfortable with it. Obviously,
Okay.
we put our trust in her. We hired
Yeah.
her to represent us.
I do have a policy. I'd like to start codifying our policies So it says, the policy that is the director may sign checks for warrant items which have been approved by the board. And 2, the director may sign checks for warrant items which have been approved by the chair or vice chair and pending final board vote.
So, I mean, obviously, she's not going to sign anything we would have nothing, no knowledge
No,
of.
like, here's the example. The Freetown, the tax bills came in, and they're on a 30-day window. They're due tomorrow. So just with everyone's schedules, if I had the ability to sign them, you know, but I'm going to put them in the mail
Which
tomorrow.
right now, don't 2 signatures have to be on the checks?
No.
Actually, only one has to, the way that the bank is set up.
It's just the way that the board was set up.
Right.
Two.
Michelle, do you have any concerns or anything?
No. No.
So does anybody want to make a motion to authorize the Economic Development Director to act on a behalf, signing checks, and and make that a, you know,
These 2 go together.
Yeah,
Right.
I would make that motion to what you said.
yeah.
Okay.
I would second that motion.
So the motion is to authorize the Economic Development Director to act on our behalf in the following capacity: to sign for us, to access the information, and then to consolidate the 2 checking accounts. And we would bring this resolution into effect.
That's what the bank will need in order to add me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So approved.
I'm asking the board to, okay, so,
Payroll.
you know, let's have the chair sign while I have her.
Because I'm slippery.
Because everyone's is very busy with their own activities, and I have you. You guys don't mind, do you? All right.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
No problem.
If there's any issues that arise, obviously, you can revoke, amend, or change it at any time you like.
And the next item is the payroll authorization.
Hold on one second. I just want to make sure we, oh, this is just a duplicate.
Duplicate. I took the one out of my packet.
Okay. Oh, I have an additional resolution to ask you. I'm not sure I need a resolution, but this is part of our banking activity, which was posted on our meeting that we were going to discuss, and previously discussed at our last meeting. I had told you that I can't find a sales, I don't know if we have a sales and use tax exemption because we're a nonprofit organization. In order for me to apply, which I had mentioned before, I need to go on Mass Tax Connect. And in order for me to do that, I have to authorize that I'm able to act on your behalf. So I'm asking the board to authorize the Economic Development Director to act on behalf of the Fall River Redevelopment Authority with the Massachusetts Department of Revenue to apply for a sales and use tax exemption under Mass DOR Administrative Procedure 101, exemptions from sales tax.
We never had that
Yeah,
before?
why would we need that? I'm curious.
Because if I want to buy office
Buy
supplies,
Okay.
maybe the previous contractor had, I don't know, but I don't know if you have it. In order for me to inquire, I have to have authority from you to act on, as your agent.
Okay.
Is my understanding, was, okay? So
You do. Anybody have any opposition to that?
No, my only question is, once you get a number, is there quarterly reporting required to report to the state?
No.
No, nothing?
No, it's actually what you present to a vendor, so they
Yeah.
won't charge you sales and use tax.
Right.
And and then we give them a form that says, we're exempt. Assuming that we get the exemption. I don't even,
Yeah.
the DOR has to approve it,
Why wouldn't we just use the city's exemption, the city of Fall River's
because
exemption?
we're a separate body politic.
I got you. Okay,
That's why,
okay.
under the enabling statute for
Okay.
redevelopment authorities. I know. Look at all this information that's new.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, and actually, it's good even to note that, because many people feel that we're under the government, we're guided by the city, and that's not the case. We are totally a separate body and within of ourselves, so
Yeah.
it's good to even note that.
So this is new.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. And then we have the warrant schedule, which you all received. No changes to that. Now I want to make note of the three checks that have already been issued. You, Chair and Vice Chair, are aware of the check issued to Bisco pursuant to his contract, final retainage payment. And the last two, actually, are right here. Just signed by the chair.
Do we have a motion to approve the warrant? Anybody have any comments, questions about the warrant?
All outstanding invoices, everything is paid at this point, or are there?
No, they're all, I don't have a payable list for you, but there are just a couple of them that just came in, par, for example, for the LSP, about $8,000.
This would complete all invoices with Bisco?
Yes.
Yes, all invoices with Bisco, to the best of my knowledge.
Do we have a motion to approve the warrant?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, that's yours. This was mine.
Thank you.
Sign so many things here.
I appreciate it. This is gonna go off like clockwork.
Update of audit 2017.
So the missing, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the missing pieces happens to be an actual inventory of the assets owned and/or disposed of during the period of 2017. Again, I went through 8 boxes of records that were turned over to us, and I found nothing, including no possession of no electronic records, recording same. So just shy of digging into each deed and finding out the missing pieces, which are approximately, I think, 2 or 3, right? The auditor asked, well, what input we could provide. Attorney Coughlin provided some. I recommend that we ask the auditors to prepare the audit with the information she has. Noting the lack of information reveals a couple of things. That information wasn't carried over to today. And 2, we are in need of actually doing some deep dive and making sure that we have an accurate inventory. So I'm not caution you to get an audit report is actually not only to tell you what you have, but is also to point out what you need to have. So that would be my recommendation to you, to have her close the audit with the information she has and report to you what you do have and what you don't have.
I mean, it's information we've really never had in 10 years, so I think it would be good. What do you think, Bob?
I agree. I don't see any point in dragging on. I would close it.
Yeah.
With
what we know, yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think we should close it, see what will be up to date. We'll know from this point forward what's going on.
How about you, Michelle? Any comments?
No, I agree with that. I think that was the purpose of us voting to have this audit done, was so that we could get some clarification, so that we could be brought up to date as much as possible and move forward in the proper manner.
Do we have a motion?
I don't think you have,
We don't even need a motion on this?
well, because you already originally voted to have an audit. I think it's an administrative notice when you want to close it out. If you're more comfortable making, or stating that you support that.
We support having them, I think, all 4 of us just said we
Yeah.
support having
Okay.
them
Let's do it.
All right.
close it out and then report to us on what we're lacking.
Okay.
And now your administrative report.
Yeah, so I had told you at the last meeting that my goal was to take the summer to get you up to date with your financial records, et cetera. As I started to prepare to set up the QuickBooks, it actually dawned on me that this audit is going to, again, tell you what you have and what you don't have. And 2, if our ultimate purpose is to align with generally accepting accounting principles that the city also uses, right? That we reach out to the city treasurer and see about setting up different accounts, right? And how cities log their particular accounts. And I have to tell you, I'm familiar with for-profit business accounting. So the treasurer has volunteered to set up our books for us on QuickBooks. So, that's part of our interagency, intermunicipal agreement. And I think that would probably be in the best interest. So again, we're looking at apples to apples going forward. And then if audits are done, there's the same comparative information and accounts. So that's what I want to report. I'm actually very excited about that because that will actually fast track whatever I do, because the familiarity with the city already has with accounting for real estate access. So as I mentioned previously, I filed the records away in 8 boxes. Again, I'm surprised that there was no electronic records whatsoever. There are some old records that are stored in the basement, and I understand that they're prior to 2000. So they're stored in the city. I mentioned to you at the last meeting that there were, the last bylaws I found on record for this board were 1964. Oddly enough, not oddly enough, surprisingly enough, they're really not as different as those adopted by current redevelopment authorities. So I'm in the process of obtaining bylaws from the Holyoke, Gardner, all of the redevelopment authorities. And I was just hoping that you might consider having, and once I assemble it, a working group of 2 of you who might be interested in looking at them and coming up with what you may want to ratify, what you may want to change. And so I'll just put it out there because Joe isn't here. But if any board members interested in working with me to make a presentation to the full board about getting your bylaws up to date, I would really appreciate that.
I would do that. I'd work with you to look over those and help you out.
That'd be great.
Anybody else?
Timing of the free time I have right now, when would this be? When would we
Oh, I
stop
think
this?
over the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay, then I would do it with you.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm hoping I have enough staff.
you know what? If you don't worry about it. We'll just,
I'll do what I
we'll make it
can when
work.
I can.
Right. That's the idea of this. It's,
If not, I'll just rope Bob into it.
Oh, that's not my job. Michelle would be great at that.
yeah, that would be great. And the other part of my administrative update is that I have reached out to a number of redevelopment authority directors, very engaging and helpful. I also reached out to the Department of Housing and Community Development. As you know, any property under an urban renewal plan needs to be approved and follow the acquisition and disposition procedures for DHCD, and she was very helpful to send me the documents that she had. Again, this trying to rebuild your data file. So I'm very excited about that.
Anything else, or should we go on to the
No, I
contract updates?
think that's the most significant. That's the most significant.
Thank you. Contract updates?
So you already voted to approve a contract amendment to the PAR agreement on June 25th. We have amended the PAR contract for PAR to provide LSP services to continue coordination with DEP and EPA and prepare regulatory closeout documentation. As you know, I am in receipt of the Mass DEP Notice of Noncompliance update, Mass DEP Notice of Noncompliance. I received that via mail last week. Anyway, it states in pertinent part, so the board received a notice of noncompliance. I'm summarizing what the letter says. So the board received a notice of noncompliance dated July 12th, 2019, outlining 4 material violations regarding the City Pier project. The letter states that on July 2nd, 2010, the board, or agent acting on behalf of the board, submitted a temporary solution statement to the Mass DEP. The temporary solution status reports were due every 6 months, and the first was due April 2012. Quote, "To date, a temporary solution status report has not been submitted. Further, a periodic evaluation, due 5 years from the date of the temporary solution statement, was due to the Mass DEP on July 2nd, 2015. Quote, "To date, this report has not been submitted to Mass DEP," end quote. In addition, on November 9th, 2011, the board or its agents submitted a release abatement measure RAM plan, which proposed the construction of a cap. While according to Mass DEP, a RAM report was submitted to Mass DEP on September 14th, 2017, the report had no new information about the cap. Quote, "The Mass DEP has not received a RAM status report on this site since September 14th, 2017. These reports are due every 6 months until the RAM completion report is submitted." End quote. The Mass DEP notice provides, quote, "Mass DEP may assess a civil administrative penalty in excess of several $1,000s if you continue to be in noncompliance with the violations cited herein," end quote. So that is the update on the contract with PAR. They have outlined their scope of services in order for us to comply with this letter of noncompliance.
So, you know, in reading that report, which I think I got emailed to me the same time that it was mailed out, the temporary solution statement, we owe them 14 of them because we're in non-compliance for 7 years every 6 months. So roughly, we owe them 14 reports.
Or at least a summary.
Summary.
Summary up to 14.
Yep,
I don't
we
know
owe
the
them,
details of that.
Like a periodic evaluation, and we owe them 3 to 4 reports on the WAM status. So they haven't really received any reporting from us since 2012.
However, I want to commend the board on taking action in order to quickly resolve these issues.
Anybody have any thoughts to that?
Now, they gave us a schedule of when
Right.
they
Right.
want things. Are
And
we
I think they're being lenient with us.
Do you think that with PAR working with us, that we're going to be able to meet these deadlines?
I have every confidence, yep.
And then if we do, we should be up to date.
Thank you.
By the end of the year, by December 30th, we should be up to date, is that right? That's the final, number 3?
Mhm.
Is it doable? Yeah?
I think it's doable. I mean, I think now that everybody is on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have not only the board to thank, we have Kathy Ann and Mike for their work to thank to get us to the point where at least we know we can become in compliance and then move forward. And that's all I have to say on that. Anybody else have anything to say?
And I think, well, and I also think that, based upon my conversation with Kathleen from the Mass DEP, that if anything significant comes up, like a tornado, for example, and a deadline is to be moved a day or two, that we have to just notify them. Notify them of the circumstances under which we might want to alter this date. Again, I do think that the dates are doable, but in the real world, things happen, and just so you know, we will be on it. If anything of the dates change or conditions change, we will notify Mass DEP in advance, right?
What's that first deadline? I don't know what that is, the tier classification, but it's 30 days from today, say, the first deadline. Do you, what is that? What do we have to do to meet that first deadline 30 days from today?
You know,
Did you see what it
Bob,
was? Yeah. It's on
a
it's on
tier,
this one here.
a
Didn't
tier
see it.
No, I know,
You know
I
it?
have it. I'm
Okay.
actually, if you refer to the
Yeah.
first part, the dates and descriptions of compliance. I'd have to dig back into this.
Because it's only a month from today.
Right. Well, PAR's already actually been working on it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
If you're
um,
comfortable that we can, do it.
I'm going to rely upon the
Yeah.
experts
Okay.
here, but to your
Yeah.
question,
Yeah.
I will call and ask them for an update well in advance of this due date. All
Whatever
right?
it is, yeah. Okay.
All right?
When I briefly look at 2, 3, and 4 on this, did you want to talk about all those together a little bit? The proposed contracts for real
Yeah,
estate
I think so.
consulting, brokerage services, and public relations marketing?
Yeah, so the first one is, I think that time is of the essence with the first one. So a real estate consulting services is for somebody to assemble all the data that is missing, as well as to respond to the several inquiries we have to purchase the land under our
Control.
ownership, and the question then will become, do we extend it into those parcels that will be subject to our action under the urban renewal? So I think yes. So my thought is that somebody who knows this, who reads this every day, who could actually dive into a deed and know what they're looking for, et cetera, can assemble this data, fill in the missing pieces, make an inventory of our land, including what it can be used for, the zoning overlay, the opportunity zone overlay. We have a number of, if I say the word opportunity zone, do I need to tell you what that is? Well, maybe for the public. So the opportunity zones is a federal program that allows an investor to invest in an opportunity zone. You have 3 in the city of Fall River, and they get tax advantages. And so for that tax advantage, it's envisioned that the city will receive additional investment to spur economic development. So we have had a number of inquiries of these called opportunity zone funds, where investors are looking to defer their capital gains by investing in these opportunity zone areas, property, in order, and how can I do that? Well, I have a map, I've got locations, but putting it all together. So that's one overlay. The second overlay is it in the urban renewal plan? Because that in and of itself will cause us things to do. The second overlay is new market tax credits. What applies? When these inquiries come in and they ask us about the use, it'll be nice to say the types of zoning that it actually has. And at a baseline, what I'm looking for is just point and click that you will all have available that would actually say the parcel size, right? So eventually, all of this will go on our database for our website, so anybody who wants to do business in Fall River, looking from another, who wants to invest in Fall River, will know automatically and not have to get caught up in a lengthy process. So in order for me to do that, I think it's very important that we kickstart this as quickly as we can, and I'm asking you to allow me to execute a sole source procurement under 30B, under $50,000. As you know, the procedure will require me to make inquiries of a number of firms, and from that input, I will have an evaluation sheet and make a recommendation and execute a contract based upon those findings.
So essentially, this whole process and everything that's going on is not a rebuilding, it's a building of a database. It's a building of all the fundamentals that we need. And ultimately, with the tax exemptions, et cetera, the urban renewal plan will supersede everything else. Is that correct?
I don't know if the word supersede is accurate, but it
addition
certainly,
to,
it's in
maybe.
addition to, yeah. Again, getting all this data and putting all the overlays together is going to, I wasn't even aware that you have an airport urban renewal plan until today, right, and talking to DHCD.
I think it's a
So-
great idea. I didn't even know that we owned a small piece of property in the industrial park. until I was approached to see if the board might let, Mr. Hetzler use it for a carnival, if they, wanted to move forth with putting a carnival, like a weekend carnival up there.
What is
And
it,
I
a
was
small-
like,
a small piece that we
because
own
tractor
also?
trailers have been
Yeah.
sitting on it, and
Really?
I was like, oh, we own that?
Yeah.
Like, wow, isn't that a surprise?
Yeah, small piece?
So I think it's, could be, it's only gonna be beneficial to us.
I'm looking for an on-call consultant, not like a broker, yeah, see you tomorrow, which is like, we have to do that eventually, but somebody who actually can help me work through, what's this? And because of, I'm hoping to find somebody who has dealt with urban renewal plans before, dealt with a city before, knows rules and regulations that actually, can kickstart this building of our database to help you move forward, help you do your job.
Will it most likely be a real estate broker?
I want it to be a real estate broker.
Okay.
I think the qualifications just take it up a notch. Yeah, the alternative are maybe an appraiser, but I don't think they understand the nuances. That is my personal opinion. I happen to be a real estate broker as
would
well,
know,
but
yeah.
I just think that level of is. I think we should have it.
That's what we need. Okay.
I think it sounds great.
I do too.
Does anybody wanna make that motion?
I would make the motion to move forward with that proposal.
I would second that. All in favor?
Aye.
So where does that skip us to?
Actually, to 3.
To 3.
Yeah, to 3. No, we're actually going to talk about it because I want to tell you. I want
Contract
to.
for real estate broker services.
So I just want to let you know that we have had a number of inquiries to buy the property, but that doesn't mean that that those will happen and/or that all of our parcels will be sold. And if they are, that contract for brokerage services has to go out for bid. So I am taking your previous RFP for brokerage services and tightening it up with a list of concrete deliverables, no wiggle room, that I will prepare and issue. If you're comfortable with my issuing it without your seeing the actual bid. But it would be, take the one that you approved before and tighten it up and make it have deliverables actually in that contract. And it would be issued through the intermunicipal agreement, through the city's purchasing department. So they will make sure that all the rules will be followed. As you know, there are 7 copies. They're all signed, they're all delivered, they get to the thing, and then you will have to go through the process of evaluating them all. That's actually set forth in statute, but you're used to, you've done that before. So.
I have no problem with that.
I don't need that. I'm fine with it.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I'm actually going to ask you to table the number 4. I could have dated
Make a
them wrong.
motion to table.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is proposed amendment, scope of services, Fourth Engineering.
So, the question becomes, does the board wish to explore all possible uses for the pier, in addition to a recreational marine use, to this contract? And if so, is the board comfortable to give me the authority to negotiate with Foth to amend the current contract that you have with them? And my feeling is part of our responsibility is to explore all revenue-generating opportunities.
Didn't our agreement with EPA require that it only be marine use? Didn't we sign an
It
agreement with them?
says marine use, but it doesn't say what kind of marine use. It just says generally marine use, to the best of my knowledge. So that actually can include a number of uses that we haven't
She gave a couple of
even
examples
explored.
at
Yeah.
the bottom of this, if,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I think we have responsibility to explore whatever we can to see what other options there are. My only thought when I initially read the commercial fishing vessel section of that, and I'm limited only to my experience with them, being out on the vineyard and here in the city, that I'm not quite sure we would want commercial fishing vessels in the center of the city. They leave pots everywhere, there's bait, there's fish, it smells, seagulls. So I'm just cautious about commercial fishing vessels.
I think my intention was to have them consider what are all the viable uses at the pier, and then from that, you would decide on the use or uses that you want. So I left it as, so I think I'm going to ask you, I would reframe this to say, motion to authorize the director to renegotiate the fourth contract to include, to expand the applicable uses beyond recretional.
That sounds a little bit better in my eyes. I
Yeah,
mean,
these were examples, but
What
you're
the
right.
options are, but I don't feel that would even fit in with the water renewal plan.
Right, the waterfront.
Waterfront
renewal,
renewal.
Right. Bob, what do you
Feel
think?
like
Yeah, do we have any idea what it's
the
gonna cost?
intention of what's
Yeah.
going down
No, your
there.
contract already
Or
was
eventually
approved
going
for,
down there.
For the 70, right? For
I-
70, yeah.
yeah, so this would just to be, to negotiate with them, well,
give
to
us more
negotiate,
ideas.
this is
Yeah.
actually even to see if that we can expand the scope of services beyond that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I think you owe it to yourselves
Yeah.
to see what else.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's our responsibility to know the full scope of what can be done there, so that you can, gain as much knowledge and just be able to narrow it down to what best suits and best fits the city. But I think without having known the full scope, I don't think you can properly bring it down to one entity, say.
Well, think of it this way too. When you are looking at alternative uses for the entire, within the scope of the waterfront urban renewal plan, you will have some input, additional input, right? So, right, I think Kara, you may raise a good point. The city residents may not want something here, but they might consider something there, but at least you can explore. You'll have some data. I'd like to think that we're, out of this, we would have some data points for, in order for you to,
I think it's a good idea.
I don't think we should close the door, and it should be no less than
okay.
Okay.
And a lot of this is, some of these things might only be on a temporary basis also, so we have no idea what ultimately is gonna come down the road.
Right.
And I mean, there isn't gonna be anything permanent in that, less than 5 years, maybe up to 10 years, correct?
We don't know.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't shut any door.
So you want to make that motion?
I would love to make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the proposed amendment to intermunicipal agreement with the city.
So last meeting, you approved an intermunicipal agreement with the city, which allowed for the board to access city services. As the city administrator had mentioned before, like we don't have to pay, we have to pay for the software, but we won't have to pay for the IT services to load that software. But the city solicitor and the treasurer have made some recommendations to amend, but in my opinion, not substantively change the intent of the agreement that you passed at the last meeting, nor will it actually change how it would actually work. The proposed changes replace lengthy indemnification language with mutual, more simple, hold harmless language, consolidates financial reporting requirements, and requires that the Redevelopment Authority fund the payroll account through a deposit. So this way, we'll get on a routine, we'll make whatever the treasurer deems is easiest for her, quarterly, monthly deposit. And then we have the records that will go into those financial statements, so you will get you will have monthly financial statements, which I'm looking forward to.
I would make the motion to go forward with that, to approve it.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So here is the original for signature. It will require Attorney Coughlin's signature for approval as to form and to manner. So, and if I might ask you to, my little pet peeve. We need dates on things.
Timestamp, that's what we need, timestamp.
Timestamp, yeah, that would be cool.
Do you have any economic development updates for us?
I do. I have a nice story to tell you. One of our major manufacturers in Fall River, Raw Seafood, I nominated them for an annual Team Massachusetts Economic Impact Award through Mass Econ, which is a nonprofit organization which is a partner with the state in terms of marketing the state. And they have been selected as a finalist for the annual Team Massachusetts Economic Impact Awards for expansion of your operations in Fall River. So I also nominated 3 other companies from Fall River, but pleased to see that Raw Seafood made it. They are in the, Mass Econ is in the process of making finalist selections, but wanted to inform you that they will be visiting Raw Seafood prior to August 30th. And then if they make it, they will be invited to a reception, and then the awards luncheon will be on Tuesday, November the 26th in Boston. And if that comes to pass, I will notify you all to see whether or not any one of you would like to attend that awards ceremony. So
That'd be great. Thank you.
very excited about that. I will be meeting with VHB, which is an engineering firm which did the original site plans for the Executive Park, Bio Park, South Coast Life Science and Technology Park. They have the original CAD files and all the specifications, so I want to get up to date with them, and I'll report back to you what there is. Actually, this may go back into administrative report, but I am pleased to say that I have obtained those files, those electronic records, and they are in our possession, and I will make sure they don't go anywhere. We've received a number of inquiries, I mentioned previously, on opportunity zones, some from Massachusetts companies, some from out of state. I will be meeting with a company represented by CBRE Atlanta next week, interested in one of our properties. And again, we're attracting a lot of people, and I'll report to you when something is ready for you to participate in the conversation and or act on. So, with that being said, input. So, do any one of you, do you want me to call you to be in on these meetings? As you know, you can't have any more than 2 people to have conversations. Otherwise, we'll have to post an open meeting. However, having these conversations with one of you present might be important to you. What do you?
Or even emailing the group, and then whoever can respond.
Whoever can attend.
Whoever can attend would respond.
It works.
And then see how that works, if one or two.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that
I like
idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I do.
Excellent. So,
We go on to, we're going to just go out of order. And do we have any new or old business? So proposed executive session. I need a motion to enter into executive session for the following reasons. A, to review and/or approve executive session minutes of May 30th, 2019 and June 25th, 2019 pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A7, and 22G. To review and respond to open meeting law complaint pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, filed by Colin Diaz, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation pursuant to Mass General Law 30A regarding,
Section 21A3.
yes. Do you want me to read all of that?
I think it's probably a good
Ken
idea.
Fiola, I don't even know how to pronounce his last
Chulo.
name. Chulo, B. Wynn versus the Fall River Redevelopment Authority, which is Kara O'Connell, Bob Smith, Michelle Dion, Lori Taylor, and Taylor Branco, and Joe Oliveira, Bristol County Superior Court docket number 1873-CV-01132, and to discuss potential real estate transactions for RDA parcel pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A and 21A6. And I find that relative to items B and C, that an
Which
open-
were, you'll have to refer back to them because we didn't
Items
identify.
B, to review and respond to open meeting law complaint pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Chapter 21A1, filed by Colin Diaz. And C, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, 21A3, Ken Fiola, Chulo Wynn versus the Fall River Redevelopment Authority, Kara O'Connell, Bob Smith, Michelle Dion, Lori Ann Taylor Brinko, and Joe Oliveira. Bristol County Superior Court docket number 1873-CV-01132. It will have, an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body. So I'm going to ask for a roll call vote for us to go into executive session, and then I will ask for a roll call vote that we will not be coming back into an open meeting, as we will not have anything further to discuss. So a roll call vote to go into executive session. Maria, can you do the roll call for us?
I will. Chairman O'Connell,
Yes.
Lori Ann Taylor Branco,
Yes.
Michelle Dion. Joe Oliveira is not present. Robert Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
And a roll call vote that we will be adjourning after the meeting.
Yeah, we will not resume an open session at the conclusion of executive session. Chairman O'Connell,
Yes.
Lori Branco,
Yes.
Michelle Dion. Joe Oliveira is not present. And Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you very much.